Happy MLK Day, everybody. You know what I'm saying? Today is a day of, reflection and what MLK Day means to you personally and how it can motivate even in 2026 from stuff that was done in the past. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like a relay carrying the baton forward from stuff that our ancestors did and making, society, you know, more progressive than what it's been prior to, us coming along. And that's one thing that MLK, means to me is that, when I look back at it, and this is my little tribute video for MLK, is that, this man was, he had all the odds stacked against him. Literally, you know what I mean? His literal life is on the line every single day to accomplish his mission that he wanted to accomplish. You know what I'm saying? With, riots and racism and, infighting. I'm quite sure he dealt with doubting, people around him doubting him, telling them, man, you lost your mind. How many times I'm quite sure that, every night conversating, laying down with his wife, you know what I'm saying, it was a lot of uncomfortable conversations had because of how much she loved him, you know what I'm saying? I'm quite sure that, she wanted, the best for his well-being, although she was following the dream and she didn't even abandon him, you know what I'm saying? Even with him getting thrown in jail, rocks thrown at him, sticks, thrown at him, dogs sick throwing him when they was out there protesting. A lot of the people, they stayed strong, they stayed committed, and they stayed united together. He had people marching on his team, to help him to get the job done. Marching with him, you know what I'm saying? Lock and step, and then, you pursuing your own dreams and with your own vision, you want to have that same kind of atmosphere going on around you. You know what I'm saying? There's people lock and step with, what they believe and what they see. They see the same thing. Or you give them hope to believe, and they believe in you, and they give you the encouragement to continue to move forward with your dreams. You know what I'm saying? But that also comes the other side of that too. You know what I'm saying? Whenever somebody's trying to do something big, or the higher you rise, you know what I mean, and doing something, or step out there, out from the masses, you're gonna look back and you're gonna have, I always, try to tell people to divide every room that you walk in immediately, you know what I'm saying, with their opinions, and that basically keeps you level-headed, you know what I'm saying, because half the room is going to be with you most of the time, and half the room is going to be against you, I mean, if you're doing something decent. And then you have the situation where you got the whole room against you, or the whole room against you, those situations happen too. But what are you going to do under those type of circumstances? You know what I'm saying? MLK, he didn't run away from the pressure. He didn't fold. He didn't, quit, or just say, look, man, this is too much, man. You know what I mean? They just bombed another church, or we just got rocks. We sitting up in the cell, I'm quite sure, inside of them jail cells. There was some real conversations had. I'm quite sure that, I don't know how many fights happened, among the people in there, or how many people that was with him 1 minute. It was like, look, you know what, man, it's the 5th time I done got locked up for this. So I just got bit by a German Shepherd. Man, I didn't sign up for this. I'm out. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure, I'm 100% positive that, human nature, being around people, being in a situation like that, being in a fight for something, you're going to have that, you know what I mean? The people walking with you and the people that's going to be walking away, you know what I'm saying? People that's standing in the fire with you, and then when they get too hot, deuces, stay out. Can you still push forward even in that circumstance where, even when people are turning against you, even when people are talking about you, even when people are looking at you like you crazy, you know what I'm saying? Or even when it looks crazy to everybody, I'm quite sure a lot of people was like, well, you said this or you said that, and, getting stones thrown at me, you know what I mean? I'm out here marching in this heat, and, I don't really see anything, I don't see no results. And especially with these days and times where it's a results, orientated, instant, reaction environment that everybody's living in, instant gratification, because everything is so quick and instant, without instant results. A lot of people lose a lot of patience. You know what I'm saying? But getting back to MLK, the guy was, incredible, and he had his own beliefs. You know what I'm saying? He had what he believed in. He believed strongly in them, and that's what made him such a powerful leader, because he never deterred from, what he believed in. And that's all, people are looking for. You know what I'm saying? But somebody that's just standing flat-footed no matter what. This is what's gonna happen. I don't care what it looks like now. You know what I'm saying? That's what strong leadership does. You know what I'm saying? It's give hope. When people see you strong and see you believe and see you continue to move forward, they'll rock with you. Especially when they're tired of, the present circumstances. Sometimes everybody, and I like to say that, is waiting on you. You don't gotta necessarily have a title. You ain't gotta necessarily be out front in front of everybody to be a leader. It could be something as simple as, nobody in my family graduated from college, or high school, or whatever the bottom is. You know what I'm saying? Nobody ever moved out of the hood. Be a pioneer that's fearless. You know what I'm saying? We all gonna have our moments where we second guess things and second guess because your eyes ain't gonna lie. You know what I mean? And the reality of life puts us in a lot of uncomfortable, situations and predicaments. You know what I'm saying? Puts us at odds with even people, that's close to us. Confidants. Sometimes your confidants. I'm quite sure a lot of his confidants, couldn't foresee the vision, or they probably saw things their own way. You know what I'm saying? But the dude was an awesome dude, man, and laid the groundwork for a lot of things today to be in place. That a lot of people don't understand the liberties and everything came from a lot of the sacrifice that was made prior to today. Stuff that people would never even people that don't even have no concept of who MLK was. Because they're so far from it. You know what I'm saying? I can think back to, just looking back at it, and hopefully they still teaching it in school, properly, how awesome the dude was, man. And, a lot of the stuff that we doing today would never even be the case had he not had his dream, and had he not, continued to move towards it, regardless of, even if it costed his life, which it eventually did. You know what I'm saying? It eventually did cost him his life because of his dream. So that other people, he sacrificed. That's a sacrifice that you can't get back. His family can't get back, that he made in order for us to have the liberties and the options that we got today. So with us having those options, let's take advantage of it, man. You know what I'm saying? Let's take action and move the baton forward for our own families and friends and situations, so that we could be the MLKs for our own family and situations. You know what I'm saying? Stuff that's never been done, generational curses that our family is still under. Barriers of poverty and whatever the obstacle is. You know what I'm saying? You, I'm talking to you, have to have it in your heart. You know what I'm saying? That look, if ain't nobody else gonna break it, I'm gonna break it, or I'm gonna die trying. I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna keep up the fight. You know what I'm saying? Until it breaks. It's like getting into it with a huge obstacle, like chopping a tree. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it don't fall down on the first strike, depending on how hard the tree is or how hard it's rooted down. But that don't mean just because you struck it the first time that you ain't, you making progress towards it ultimately falling. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of us, when we building our dreams and having our vision and everything, we start chopping the tree, because it hasn't tipped over as fast as we would like it to. You know what I mean? We walk away. You know what I'm saying? And we walk away from it. And guess what ends up happening? All that work and the tree is like halfway chopped. Somebody come right behind you. Light work, couple strikes. Off the work that you did, but you never saw the results of it. You know what I mean? Because you walked away before, finally, finishing the last strike. You know what I'm saying? So if don't anything motivate you to to continue to stand, to see things through to the finish line, you don't want nobody to reap the rewards. If you're able to, reap the rewards of your own labor. You know what I mean? You chopping the tree, man, staying there until it's done. And that's all I got to say for MLK Day, man. Peace.